Wer möchte rufen Abzieh, Abzieh? Alles klar. Nackt gegen die Macht, nackt für die Freiheit, Abzieh, Abzieh. Okay.
When we created the first Werker 2, we thought somehow it's a very performative magazine. It's a very performative publication, let me say. And the images are quite large, and when you go through it, you feel kind of the relation of your body going through the publication with the images, corresponding with the images in the magazine. So we actually, quite soon after, we had a bit of an idea to make or translate this existing publication into space, or to even make a new one of the same method, and translate that into space, and that's what happened. Werker magazine is interested in collective practices, so like in exploring things together, reading things together, and in this case it is performing together. So the space is a space for working together, for discussing the content, for performing it. And we try to set up the space as such that there's an indication of how this could be done. So there's the images on the wall, as you can see behind us, and there's on the floor. I'm not sure if that's in the shot visible, but there's the texts of the publication are printed on the floor. So these texts, they are also formatted as such, so they are hopefully instances to start reading the text out loud. We hope that the images give a bit of feedback in how posture could, for example, be shaped in the space. That being said, it is only indications, and the space can be used for anything actually, to emphasize that, because I think, as I said, we're interested in the collective process, so I think when we're working together with people, most interestingly, what is going on in space is defined by the people that we're working with.
And the idea is that actually, so the viewer or the person that comes to the museum comes to work actually, not to contemplate.
Yeah, it's not a passive kind of approach. It tries to activate.
Yeah, so how to engage together on the task of reading a certain information and seeing how this actually how we deal with this information, how our bodies kind of are shaped through this information, and how can we alter that. And at the end, the results of these reading sessions, they are broadcasted on different points on the street of locations surrounding the museum. So the audience at the end is anybody that lives in Winterthur or in Krakow.
What was a very important realization for us is that we were kind of we tried to experiment with the content and how it would activate the body to the maximum possible. And we try to give quite a bit of indications, so there's different points of entry. And I think what we realized quite soon is that the anxiety we had of if people were actually going to be activated by it was unnecessary, because as soon as people came into space, people started to experiment and enjoy the content and work with it and talk about it and look at it. So I think that part really succeeded.
Der Artikel geht folgendermaßen: Nackt für ein autonomes Jugendzentrum. Das ist die erste Nacktdemonstration in Zürich. Wir fordern ein autonomes Jugendhaus. Skandierten sie immer wieder und marschierten splitternackt durch die Zürcher Innenstadt.
The thing what for me was quite interesting is we've done until now like 4 image acts or 5, and they are all so different. So that's for me very relevant to see that from our side, the fact to include the reading part as part of our work, usually as a publisher, as somebody that publishes. You publish and then you finish your work and you go home and you leave the publication there to live alone. But the fact of resisting this and going together with the publication and reading it makes us realize that actually the real creative act is made on the reading. It's not made on the making. And every reader is again totally changing and totally adopting the content, filtering through their own perception. And that is quite relevant,
If anything, this is a
It
learning,
is beautiful.
learning process
to
for
be
us
part
the
of, to
most.
be part of that, because usually you don't see it. Everybody does it at home or whatever. But to be part of that and to see how people filter your content and find their own ways of reading it and feeling identified or not identified, that's beautiful.